See in the right hand side, at this stage, our IRS is not working and the signal quality is so low. So now we will configure our IRS. As signal quality is so low, video is not being streamed. So as soon as we have configured our IRS, you can see that signal strength is going up and that is being video streaming. So this proves that our surface is working in reality as well. And then you can see that this is another video where this is an electromagnetic wave. You can see that it is being moving from which is 0 degree in the incomplete 90 degree in 180 degree and see it is going up to 360 degrees. So we can control the beam as we like. I was delivering a keynote 3 years ago at one of the conference and somebody told me that, oh, whatever you are doing with these surfaces, this is an ideal environment. You did an indoor environment, you are controlling it yourself. Do you think that it will work with an actual network or not? So we went back and we did world first commercial trials by working with British Telecom, where we use the mast, as you can see, of British Telecom. We use their receiver antenna and then we use our reconfigurable intelligent surface in their environment to test whether this works or not. Of course, it took us months to do the trials, but I will quickly jump to the results, which shows that for all 3 different locations, we were getting a gain enhancement of around 5 to 15 dB with a capacity increase of 50%, which proves our point that this works for 6G. Now it is being used in standards and hopefully it is being picked up by UK government as well, where they will be using it for smart homes master plan, and there are so many things happening in this direction for the pioneering work we did. Now the second bit is, up to now I talked only about communication. Remember I told you one of the key features for 6G is communication and sensing together. So in the next 5 minutes I'll be talking about sensing. So up to now what we are doing is that we are living in a doctor-centric healthcare system. हम डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं, हम अपने symptoms बताते हैं और डॉक्टर कुछ लिख के दे देते हैं. That is called doctor-centric healthcare. But this young generation is very rude. They don't want to be controlled. They want to control their health themselves because we have smart watches, we have mobile phones, many other sensors. So we want to have control of our health. So this is called patient-centric healthcare. The new idea is that we want to move from doctor-centric healthcare to patient-centric healthcare. That we want to control our health ourselves. So we are going to have smart homes will have various kind of sensors at home, including environmental sensors, wearable sensors, implantable sensors, RFIDs, and contactless sensing. These all sensors will work together to collect information, send it over cloud to the server, where we will perform AI on the data to make proactive decisions. Proactive means that we can tell someone before something, AI revolution, you can do this, but data is the key. So we are working on all kind of sensing technologies, but in the interest of time, I'll be talking only about contactless sensing. So the idea is that we have radio frequency signals around us, right? We have Wi-Fi at home, we have mobile signals. We can live without food, but we cannot live without these mobile or Wi-Fi signals. So the idea is that can we use these signals, which are already available, to monitor someone's health parameters, which include heart rate, breathing rate, fall detection, lip movement, so on and so forth. But this contactless sensing, we are working from last 10 years. It had many challenges. The first challenge was that these radio frequency signals, as you have seen that they are ambient, so you cannot control them. Ultimately, the resolution was low. Number two, if I want to measure heart rate for so many people, I cannot differentiate its heart rate for whom. Number three, if someone stand up like this student and go out, I cannot track. So what we have done was that we have used these reconfigurable intelligent surfaces to overcome all these challenges of contactless sensing. So we have published this work in one of the highest journal, Nature, where we demonstrated that we can use these reconfigurable surfaces with contactless sensing to overcome these challenges. And to demonstrate that, we did some indoor trials where transmitter and receiver were unable to see each other and user was performing some activities in various scenarios. And I'll jump to results. So when this risk surface was off, we were unable to differentiate any activity. But as soon as we turned it on, we were able to detect this with an accuracy of 100%, which opened a new paradigm for other researchers who are working on it. And this is another interesting thing we did with this very interesting concept. So I'm sure we all have people around us who have hearing impairment. So what they use, hearing impaired people जिन्हें सुनने का मसला होता है, what device they use? Hearing aid. Okay, so hearing aid has a big problem called cocktail effect. Cocktail effect ही अगर आप उन लोगों से बात करें तो वो कहते हैं सू सू की आवाज आती है जो कि दिमाग में लगती है, and they do not like to wear those hearing aid devices. And the technical challenge there is that those hearing aid devices are made for certain environment. They have a noise threshold. So if I use them at a quiet environment, they work well. If I use it at a noisy environment, because noise threshold is for different environment, it will not work properly. So we use a human brain concept. So अभी मैं आपसे बात कर रहा हूँ. Your brain is translating what I'm saying not based only on my audio. It's looking at the slides, it's looking at my body language, my facial expression, combining all that information and converting it to useful text. So we use the same concept to make hearing aid devices intelligent, where we want to take a multimodal information including audio, facial expression, hand movement, so on and so forth. So during pandemic, one challenge came that everyone was wearing a mask. So people were previously using camera, like Google was using a camera glasses to read lip movement and facial expression, but camera fails to penetrate inside clothing, right? And if light is not good, you cannot use it. So we use these radio frequency signals to read lip movement and facial expression for the first time and publish this in Nature Communication, which is another high journal, where we demonstrated that we can use these radio frequency signal to make intelligent hearing aid devices. So this is a big project we are working on, and the vision is to come up with that hearing aid device by 2015. And then we use these surfaces to measure people heart rate and breathing rate remotely in non-line of sight scenario. And also we use our technology to do brain computer interface as well, that how we were using BCI with these wrist surfaces as a mode of interaction between the two users. So I know I have 5 minutes left. So this is the last thing I want to show, which is basically localization. So you all know that GPS does not work inside the buildings, right? कि बाहर सही चलता. This is another issue कि पाकिस्तान में Google Maps में भी मसला है. That is different issue, but it does not work indoor for sure. So what we have done is that, as I mentioned to you, that if we put these surfaces on the windows, we can control electromagnetic wave, we can bring GPS signal inside, and we can localize the target, or we can do tracking inside the building. So we have demonstrated this by doing a thorough experiment where we have shown that we can do the localization with an accuracy of 90%. Last but not the least thing, which is the key feature of 6G, doing sensing and communication together, right? So the idea is that कि हमारे आसपास mobile signals हैं, we are using them for communication. Can we use them for sensing as well? And the benefits are so many, including cost, spectrum efficiency. So we have demonstrated for first time in literature that yes, we can do these two features, and this video will demonstrate that. Basically, what we are doing here is in figure number 3 on right hand side, we are showing a spectrogram. There are two users. So we are sensing their vitals, heart rate and breathing rate, which are embedded in this spectrogram. And this is their communication, which is read range. You can see they are static. Spectrum was static. As they are moving, we can see that targets are moving. That we are able to do joint sensing and communication together, which is shown in this another last video as well, which is about, you can see that we are doing sensing. Okay, it should work. One second. So the idea here is, oh, it's working. So see, this is a user. We are transporting its video from point A to point B, which is communication. And then we are doing sensing, which shows that when user was standing, it shows standing. When sitting, it shows sitting. So this is sensing. So we are doing both things together, which is basically a breakthrough, which is opening so many new windows. We are showing. So I was thinking, the summary is that future is here and we all need to work together to make this future happen for betterment of humanity. So thank you very much for listening, and I would like to thank all my students. Any questions? Yes. No, student first. Sorry, sir. Student first. Yeah, please.
Sorry. I'm a student of chemical engineering, and our last semester is going on. And I understand about your class about the 6G technology. And sir, how will you tell that 6G technology is going to change the world? How will you explain this to a common man? Give a short summary, please.
Very difficult question, but I'll try to do this. So, how it will help common man? So, think this way, which I just told you. कि अब हर घर में से everyone is going out of the country because world is global. आप अपने बच्चे से मिलना चाहते हैं, ठीक है, और आप उसको फील भी करना चाहते हैं, and that can be done if you have all five senses, right? So this is 6G can do. Another killer use case कि हमारे अबाव अजदाद फोत हो गए. Let's talk about 100 years ahead. मैं जो है आज से 100 साल आ गया हूँ और मैं 50 साल पीछे देखना चाहता हूँ कि मेरे जो अबाव अजदाद थे वो फोत हो गए और उनसे मैं इंटरेक्ट करना चाहता हूँ with all the five senses. 6G can help with that. So this is two things. Last thing कि अगर आपके पास एक स्पेशलिटी है, कैंसर इज अ बिग इशू. We do not have specialized doctors. We do not have surgical equipment like they don't do surgery after 50 years. Imagine कि अमेरिका में या चाइना में या यूके में एक डॉक्टर बैठा है और वो वहां से रिमोटली सर्जरी करे. That can be enabled only by 6. So I think these three examples justifies 6G to a common man.
सर सर जैसे हमारे सेंसिंग है पर तो उससे हमारे डिसीज भी तो काफी ज्यादा बढ़ जाते हैं. अगर हम मोबाइल को हार्ट के करीब रखते हैं तो फिर काफी असर पड़ता है. सर जैसे आप कह रहे हैं कि हम सेंस कर पाएंगे और चीजों को देख पाएंगे तो उससे डिसीज भी तो बढ़ेंगे ना.
Very good question. So the question is कि I'll summarize it कि जो मोबाइल सिग्नल हैं उनकी हमारी हेल्थ पे भी तो बैड इफेक्ट्स हो सकते हैं, वाईफाई सिग्नल्स के भी हो सकते हैं. So we were approached by UK government when pandemic came. So it was very severe in UK. People started burning 5G masts जो एंटेनाज होते हैं कि इनकी वजह से पेंडेमिक आया है. And it was in many parts of the world as well. So we did one study, I skipped it. One of the key factors which proves the impact of radio signals on human body is called specific absorption rate. कि कितना आपकी बॉडी जो है वो एब्जॉर्ब कर रही है. There is a limit कि अगर वो उससे कम है तो आपकी बॉडी पे इम्पैक्ट नहीं होगा. So we are using microwave oven in our home, which is radio frequency. So nothing is happening. But there is saying that, oh, this caused cancer, this caused that, but there is nothing proven yet. And to be honest, the impact of these technologies comes after 100 of years. Mobile communication is out since 40 years and there is nothing being proven yet. So until it's not guilty, it's not guilty. Sorry, sir, I'm asking students, giving them opportunities. Sorry. Okay.
अस्सलामुअलैकुम। फोर्थ सेमेस्टर के स्टूडेंट हूँ इलेक्ट्रिकल का। सर जिस तरह माइक्रोवेव ओवन के जो कैंसर के सबब बना है, पहले जो है लॉन्च कर दिया जाता है, फिर बाद में उसके जो है ना नुकसानात बताए जाते हैं, फिर उसकी वजह से जो है कैंसर जिस तरह बढ़ रहा है इतनी मिकदार में, तो ये पहले रिसर्च क्यों नहीं की जाती इस चीज़ के बारे में? पहले नुकसानात ताकि लोग उसको इस्तेमाल करने के बाद जो है ना उसका जब इस्तेमाल में आ जाती चीज़ तो लोग करने का फायदा उठाए, उसके नुकसानात को मद्देनजर नहीं रखते हैं। तो इस चीज़ को क्यों नहीं किया जाता पहले?
It's a very good question, and answer to this question is ethics. And as sir was mentioning in the morning as well, and unfortunately, this world is money driven, and it lacks ethics. So that is the only reason. But the way things are moving, no, basically we are going to have guidelines and standards in many things which are regularizing these future technological stuff. So it will happen with the passage of time when we have good moral values and ethics. Sir.
Sir, mashallah, your presentation was very good. Actually, I am also working in the same research with a collaboration with NAS. So, my question is about I am using the IRUW radar.
Okay.
The frequency range is 6 gigahertz or 7 gigahertz.
Yeah.
So, can you tell me what is the frequency range the device you are using in this research also?
Very good question. So we have basically covered the whole spectrum of frequencies based on the requirement from our collaborators. So we have made an X-band radar RIS as well, which is working from 8 to 12 gigahertz. We have made it at 5.8 gigahertz as well. We have made it at 28 gigahertz, which is another radar frequency. We are now making it at 100 gigahertz based on application and our funder. So we covered all the spectrum. So if you want to discuss, just drop me an email. Sorry, मैंने आपको interrupt किया है.
No, first of all, I would like to thank you from the whole mankind because you and Mr. David, you both are working for them. So this is something which is going to impact the whole world and change the whole. So, first of all, I would like to speak something from the start of your presentation, which was you were saying that South Korea, if I'm not wrong,
Sorry?
South Korea,
South Korea.
South Korea is not using the 5G because this is not impacting.
They implemented it,
Okay.
they deployed it, and then they took deployment off.
Oh,
Yeah.
so according to this statement, we Pakistani should not buy the 5G and save some money because this is not much impactful. When we go to buy some mobile phone, the shopkeeper tells us this is 5G supported and we just buy that mobile phone and spend more money. So thank you for this. Next time I go to buy a new mobile, I will save some money. The next question is that in the start of your presentation, you mentioned that if I am sitting in some restaurant in Multan and I am calling someone in the UK, and the person in the UK can feel the smell of the food. So my question is that the smell is something, some molecule or some atoms. So if is it something artificial smell or if it is the actual smell of the food, that means those atoms should be transferred to that person sitting in the UK. And if I'm not wrong, this is only possible if we are moving those atoms with the speed of light or something around that. So my mind is confused on it.
I got your question. Very good question. Because of time limitation, I didn't go in detail. But what we are trying to do here is that each of the cells is linked to certain neurons. So if I smell rose of different variety, मोतिया का है, गुलाब का है, each stimulate different neurons in your brain. So what our goal is to find those neurons. I'm just talking about smell. And once we know those neurons, we transmit a signal from point A to point B, where we have another stimulator which will stimulate those neurons in person B, and ultimately he or she will get the same smell feeling. It's all about feeling, right? So it's playing with human brain. It's not an actual teleportation of molecules, which is not possible. So it's with brain. Playing with brain.
I think it's a wonderful talk, and this is the miraculous.
Yeah, student का.
Yeah, please. First one question. Yes, I have a comment.
Yeah, sure.
जो हमारे फोन रैम पड़े वो तो सर 4G पे बने हुए हैं, अगर हम उनको 6G पे कन्वर्ट करेंगे तो सर फाइनेंशियल इशू भी तो क्रिएट होंगे ना। तो सर इसीलिए कौन अपना 1.5-2 लाख का फोन 4G से हटा के 6G पे कन्वर्ट करेगा? उसके लिए आपको टावर भी लगाने पड़ेंगे, फाइनेंशियल इशू तो बहुत बड़ा, इसलिए सर 4G पे 5G पे कैसे आपने क्या?
Well, very good thing. This is what I told you in the start. When people will see the benefit, then they will buy. Assume करता हूँ, assume कर रहा हूँ आपके जो भाई हैं वो US में बैठे, ठीक है? और आपकी वालदा, चले आपको तो वो फीलिंग की होगी, वालदा की होगी, मैं बेटे से बात करूँ, उसको फील भी करूँ, उससे जो है वो उसकी मुझे खुशबू भी आए, या बच्चे को होके वालदा की आए। जब ऐसा कोई यूज केस होगा तो आप लाखों या आप जो है वो 4 लाख देने के लिए तैयार हो जाएंगे। So the mobile operator and vendor, when they deploy this, it's a big cost, right? So they will take money from the user based on the use cases. Another use case I mentioned, remote surgeries. So when there are authentic, solid use cases, then consumer go and buy those things, definitely.
सर अगर हम इसकी जगह एक ऐप जब कोई हम एंटीना डेवलप करते हैं जो हमें परचेज करके साथ फोन के अंदर ऐड कर लें तो उससे हमें ज़्यादा फायदा नहीं होगा, बजाय हम मोबाइल चेंज करें अपने आप वो ऑपरेटर एंटीना को चेंज करें के बजाय हम एक छोटा एंटीना लेके उसके साथ के लगा सकते हैं। हमको एक बात
This might be a possible solution, but look from the perspective of businessman, पुलिस में ज़्यादा प्रॉफिट होगा या फोन खरीदेंगे तो ज़्यादा प्रॉफिट होगा, right? But this is a possible solution in future. We are working on nano sensors. In future, we are going to have nano sensors in our phone which can do these kind of tasks. You know that currently you can use your phone camera to measure your pulses, heart rate, breathing rate. Those are the algorithms which are being embedded. So AI can solve those problems, but there are some hardware limitations which needs to be updated. But you are right, very valid point. But I don't have answer. I am not a businessman.
No problem. Yeah, thank you, Dr. for a very nice presentation. Yeah, the list of questions is unending.
Yeah.
People will ask questions for every new thing, so that's just normal, very normal thing. My vision or what I see from this research, one day, if it may be possible, it's just a desire, it's just a belief that this will happen one day. That when a surgeon is operating,
Yeah.
let us say sitting in California and operating a patient with Lahore, right now that exists. The robotic surgery exists, controlled by someone sitting in another country, and while they are operating, they are concentrating on the operation itself, but they cannot feel what the patient is feeling actually.
Absolutely.
That feeling can be the feeling of pain. That feeling can be the feeling of something else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe drowsiness. Maybe the patient is coming out of anesthesia, or maybe the patient is deep into anesthesia or not. Maybe those feelings. That surgeon sitting in USA that cannot have that.
Cannot, because it's not to make a medication yet.
Yeah. So if the patient also has the sensors and those information are also sent to California, the doctor or the surgeon will Clinicians who realize that now with this type of action, the patient is seriously feeling uncomfortable or maybe having some problems by weakness or not weakness. So, would it be possible?
Yeah, definitely. So this is called currently the robotic surgeries which are happening. They are basically so sir point is कि अभी तक ये हो रहा है कि वन वे कम्युनिकेशन हो रही है कि सर्जरी रोबोटिक आप देख लें वेस्ट में दे आर यूजिंग दीज रोबोट्स टू डू सर्जरीज while controlled remotely. But there is no information going from patient side to doctor. So it's only one way, not a closed loop. So the point is that possible? Yes. This is what I was talking, that we can teleport 5 senses both ways. Once you can do that, you can have a real immersive experience which will shape the humanity. But it will take some time, but definitely it will work.
I think, thank you very much. You can take a seat and we will remain in touch.
So I delivered talks all around the world, but I was so happy here because so many questions were asked by students. So a big round of applause.
Thank you, Professor David Professor Kumar Abadi. Now our next international speaker is Dr. Junaid S. Qazi. He is President and Chief Data Scientist of Data Skills Company, Canada. He is well known expert in the field of artificial intelligence. Team company slogan is Be the future ready. Data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and